더 이상 멈출 수가 없는 걸 금지되어 있었던 맘속에 널 어느새 전부 깨져버린 lure yeah it's so hard yeah but you make me high tonight I get a little bit dangerous 번지는 불길 위 I get a little bit dangerous 이 느낌 I can't stop 난 동작을 벗어나 선을 넘어가 It's so hot and dangerous so dangerous 난 들었던 마음의 기로니까 어느새 기어올라 고쳐만 내 길이다 100
Good evening and welcome everybody. My name is Leona Orenstixera. I'm the KZN Regional Lead. And our good guest speaker today, Lalitha Moodley, is a valuable member of the KZN community. Welcome, Lalitha. She's going to talk to us tonight about click, don't code, prototyping the lazy, maybe smart, way with Figma. But who is Lalitha? She's a strategic senior business analyst working for Gembi Health Systems, a non-profit organization that implements health information systems in low resource settings, emphasizing optimization through data analysis. She has many years of experience in the health, finance, and asset management sectors, and that experience extends to business analysis, business process management, monitoring, and risk management, as well as country engagements. Before I hand over to Lalitha, some protocol. Please stay mute unless clear to talk. Lalitha is going to do demonstrations. Please don't try and click on the screen, the slides. It's not interactive, but it does leave marks. So we experience that. So that's why I'm asking. Switch off your video. Only the presenter's video is allowed. The presentation will be about 45 minutes long. We will be having a Q&A session afterwards, but Lalitha will check for questions as she goes along. Presentations will be uploaded on the IIBA SA YouTube page, which can be found at that link. We do not share the presentation deck. To become a member of the IIBA South Africa, please go to that website. For our next event, visit the IIBA South Africa's event page or follow IIBA on LinkedIn. If you would like to present a tool or technique in the community, please contact us at professionaldevelopment@southafrica.iiba.org. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the presentation. I know I'm going to learn something. Lalitha, all yours.
Thank you so much for that intro, Liana. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my talk. So this time I get to talk and you get to listen. But this is going to be a very interactive session. A few weeks ago, I found Figma, and I decided that while I'm learning, you should learn with me as well. So my topic is about click, don't code, prototyping the lazy, smart way with Figma. So the world is faster and faster. Let's go back one. The world spins on its axis, but these days it seems to be spinning faster and faster, and we're just trying to hang on to it. So how do we actually get better at what we're doing and not have to work harder, but just work smarter? So wireframes and prototyping, the why and why now. So some benefits to wireframes. It empowers VAs. You know, usually in the SDLC, which is your software development lifecycle, we're very reliant on our developers to give us any solutions. We always told as VAs you should not be solutioning when you're doing your requirements. But in this fast-paced world, it's about how fast you get it to market and who gets there first. So you need to be able to move faster. And in order to move faster, you can't be working through thick documents that you're expecting your clients and your stakeholders to work through. So wireframes allows you to give your clients and your stakeholders visuals. They're able to readily see, understand, question, and make decisions. So it helps you to clarify your requirements. It helps you to improve the stakeholder engagement. Because it's improving that communication and that two-way communication. You're getting answers almost immediately because they can see what you're doing, question it, and you can change it on the go. It allows for a faster turnaround time on decision making, and thus reducing the rework because you're getting the answers as and when you need them. And this becomes part of your supporting documentation. So Figma, and this is from Liana. Thanks, Liana, because Liana asked me this. So this is what they would tell you. Figma is a web-based vector graphics editor and prototyping tool, primarily used for interface design and user experience design. It's a collaborative tool that allows designers to create, share, and interact with designs in real time. And Figma supports design processes from ideation and wireframing to high fidelity prototyping and handoff to developers. In a nutshell, or layman's terms, think of Figma as your Google options, like your Google document. It's an option where multiple people can contribute and work on something together. It allows you to actually design your wireframes and then to actually prototype it without having to wait for a developer to code something for you that could take too long. So website for this is figma.com, and you can register or log in there for free using your email address or your Gmail account. Gives you this sort of login. I'm going to stop sharing this and actually go straight into the demonstration. The demonstration is not very long. I actually going to be using this as my guide of what we're actually going to try and prototype or wireframe. And where I've got this information from, it's basically a YouTube tutorial that gave me the step-by-steps on how to replicate creating a wireframe and then turning it into a prototype. So the title of that YouTube video, which I may have to reference if I get stuck in between, is Clickable Wireframes in Figma, and it's by Nick Babbage. And I've also got the link, which I will share in the chat when we're doing more Q&A. Because this is a demonstration and it's interactive, if you have questions or I'm going too fast or you need me to clarify something, you can add it to the chat and Vumani will stop me and I'll be able to answer you during the session. Or you can even raise your hand and let me know and I'll clarify whatever you need clarity on. If there are no questions or no immediate questions that you have, you can still add your questions to the Q&A or to the chat. And in the last 15 minutes of the session, I will try my best to actually answer them for you. So I'm just going to stop sharing here and share a new screen. Okay, so this is Figma. It's quite basic. We're going to go straight into the design. Okay, so when you're starting off fresh, you've got a toolbar at the bottom that gives you your different options for your moving your tools, for framing, for different shapes, for using a pen or a pencil, text box, etc. So before you start here, you'll see on your left-hand side, you've got a file, which is basically this, your whole design and what you're creating. To start, we want to be as efficient as possible. So create basic templates that you'll be using throughout your design. So you can start with a rectangle, and this can be used for your button options, text boxes, etc. And once you've created this, you'll see on the right here, as soon as you're working on any objects, it actually has a set of tools on your right-hand side that gives you options for editing it. It actually even tells you what shape it is. So next to rectangle, you'll see a button here. It says create component if you hover over it. If you click on it, you'll see it labels it, and it also adds it into your directory under your assets, which means that you can reuse this without having to draw that shape again. So we'll create that. We'll also create a square, and so you can start with any shape, and if you click on it, as I said, it gives you the edit option here. So you can, so I want to make a square here. So you can change your dimensions, and it makes it easier, or you could even use the arrows to actually extend the shape to the size that you want. I'm going to use lines in it, and the reason I'm going to use this is that it's going to become what I would use for images going forward. If you want to actually duplicate anything, so you've got an item selected, in this case, the line, you use Command D if you've got a Mac, or Control D, and then it copies and duplicates that object that you were clicked on. So now I've got two lines across and my square to make my image. If I drag my mouse over it, it selects all, and if I right click on it, it groups it. Now this becomes one object, where initially it was a square with two lines, making it three different objects. It's now one object. So once I've got my object, I do the same thing. I click on this create component, and it creates that as a template. Then I want to make a circle. Circles can also be used for buttons. You can use it for various things. You decide which shape it suits you best here. Same thing, I'm going to click on it and make it a shape, and then create it. And then I just want to create something that's going to represent almost like text. I may or may not use it, but I'd rather do it up front. So I want to make almost like a row of text. So instead of creating more and more of these, because this object has been selected, I just do Command D in this case. I'm going to do it about 3 times, and then I can drag it and make my shape. You'll notice that it gives you these red lines on different points. It helps you to actually align them, and you can also decide on the spacing. So if I take the next one, it'll give me the spacing between them, so I can make sure that they evened out. And so then I'm going to also now, if you click on it and you use Shift and click, it will select all of them, as you click on it. And I want to make sure that they're all aligned. I'm going to use the tools on the right hand side here and click the alignment left, and it'll align my. And now that it's all selected, I'm also going to right click and group that selection. So similar to like how we did with the first box, we've now grouped this, and then I make it a template. And so these are the templates that I'm going to be using today. And so I'm just going to select all of them and then group them together and just keep them aside. So you'll now see under assets, all of those templates are now here. At any point, if I want to use them, I just need to click on it, and it asks me if I want to insert it, and I can. So the first thing that we're doing is, as I said, I am working on trying to recreate an Instagram page on a mobile app. So, and remember, we're just starting basic. You don't have to worry that it's not exactly like your diagram or what you're trying to imagine. As you get more familiar with it, you can start getting more rich in terms of your viewing of how it looks. So rectangular shape to match it. Try and get it to be as similar to the object that you are wanting to make. So in this, you use an iPhone, and this is because Nick told me this is what the dimensions are. So I'm going to do it 390 by 844. Then I want to round it so that it looks more like a phone. and I'm going to use the corner radius of 40. So I'm also going to use the zoom out here to about 75% so that I can see the full image.
Lalita,
Yes.
quick question. Where do you
Yep.
find the shortcuts, such as Command D or Control D? Is there like a library or something?
Yeah, Figma does have a library that you can actually check out. It actually has a tutorial as well, a basic tutorial that will actually take you through the whole process and give you more insight. And it's free on Figma. So the actual app, the actual URL is free, as well as that tutorial is free as well. Okay. So now we've got our outline of this here. I also want to make it white so it stands out a little bit more. So it's got full here and it's got this. If I click on it, it'll give me this view of the colors. But if I click on these 4 buttons here, it actually gives me more options. It can give me all libraries of different colors that I can select from. It even gives you different styles that you can choose. And instead of going and looking for what letters would make white, I can just select white and have it there. The other thing is, because we're going to be adding components to this screen, we want to make sure that it all becomes one frame. It all fits into one frame. So if you right click on it and you frame this selection. So I'm going back to my image so that I can look it up. And we're going to start with the circle, right? So you can click on it and have insert instance on it, or I think you can actually drag it as well. Yes, you can also drag the image on here. Now, as I said, you can use Control D. I want to make like about 4 or 5 of these. And I'm just going to try and space them out. And then because it's too big for my frame, I'm going to click on it and then shift and hold each one. And then I can actually adjust the size to what size I want. Oops, I didn't click on the last one. Oh, and if you click on it, you can also delete it. So I want to space them out a little bit better so that the view looks a little bit cleaner. And probably there is a way to actually do it without manually having to do that, but I'll have to figure that out as I go along. Okay, so those are going to be almost like your multiple users at the top of your Instagram screen. So there's icons usually at the top of your Instagram screen where you have your post, allowing you to post, like, and drop downs. So we can use the same ellipsis, and we're just going to make it a little bit smaller. Oops. And then use them at the top as our buttons. You want to put in your text for Instagram. So you can. So I selected T at the bottom there, and I'm going to type in Instagram here. And then when you double click on it, then you got the options on the right hand side again to actually change it. If you click away, it actually gives you your different fonts, semi-bold, bold, extra bold, whatever you want. So I want to make it extra bold. You can change the size, you can change the color. And that's now my Instagram title. So now as a user, I want to use one of these. I actually feel like I should, you can see my whole screen, right? I just want to put this here so you can see what I am trying to recreate. I think it'll make it a little bit more visual.
Quick question, Lalita. Can you add pictures?
Yes. Yes, you can. You can add in images. If you're doing a basic flow and you just want to get something out, you just use this grouping here to almost like depict a picture, but you can actually add images. That's what we did. We had data fields, list of data fields that was provided by the client. And instead of going and saying, right, when you actually load this client, it should give you all these data fields. We just copied and pasted it in. So you just create a box, like how you'd create this, and then you put it in here. One of the things to realize as well is, you remember we created this frame? So let's call it home screen, right? We want all of our objects that we're creating on here to be part of that home screen. So if I move it, it should move along. But sometimes, if you're rushing and you put something in and it's not actually quite on the home screen, when you move it, it won't move. It'll actually fall off that. I just want to see if I can use here. Let's see. Okay. I'm too good at this. It's actually I was trying to not do it right. Okay, yeah. So see, this is not linking on the home screen. So if I move my home screen anywhere else, I lose that object. But if you go into your file here, it actually gives you your different layers. So here's your home screen with all your different objects that you attached to it. And it's showing you that this rectangle is outside of it. You just click on it and you drag it back onto the home screen, and it's now part of it. Now you just need to put it where you want it on your home screen. So I'm just going to delete that for now. Okay, so I had this Instagram, and a lot of this I just Control D because I don't want to go recreate it, and I just change the text. So this is going to be the username, right, of this person whose account this is. So here we've got this object to create this post that they just did. And the thing is, you can adjust it as well. So the idea of having it in a similar size of the object that you're trying to mirror, like in this case, a phone, means that you can realign your object so that it looks a little bit more realistic. You can change things around. As I said, I don't want to go and recreate the wheel, so it's easier to just select the ones I want, and these are now my buttons at the bottom. Same here. I want to put this for the likes. This likes.
Another question, Lalita, is Figma free?
Yeah. Is it free? Yes, it is.
Yes.
It allows you, it is free, but it allows you only a certain amount of it, like most things. Once you've used, I think it allows you 2 files. So this in total, and I could have quite a number of screens on this, would be free. But if I wanted to have 5 files of this, you'd have to start paying for it to get the bigger versions. So now that I've got these here, now I can look at it and say, oh, it actually, this is too small. I want it bigger, or actually to make it look more realistic, this needs to come down a bit more and make this bigger instead. It allows you that options to turn it around, what makes it work for you. Also, now these are all out of line, right? So I want them all to be, I want all my starting points to be in line. I've selected all of them, and remember, you click on the object, click on shift, and you hold shift and you click on the next object until you've selected all that you want. Then I go to my left alignment. Wait, then I pick off it. And that doesn't look right, does it? Let's try to just 2. Some things go. Oh, it is right. Yeah, so you can select them and left align or right align or center, and it will bring it line. Okay, I'm doing something wrong there. Or you can actually move it yourself, and you can see the lines on the right, on the left hand side, and I can put them in the line that I want. So this now becomes more or less my first screen. But now I want to now do my next screen, which is now going into this user's profile. So I don't want to go recreate the templates again. I know what size my phone is. It's going to be the same size phone, just a different view. And I'm going to be using some of these ellipses and objects again. So if you click on home screen, it's basically going to select everything. Before you do that, just double check that everything is in there. Now it's showing me this group 1 is not there. So if I move this, it moves away from my screen, right? And also, if you're making mistakes like this now, that I just moved my template away and part of my objects out of it, you can Command Z, and I'm assuming on Android or on Windows, it'll be Control Z, and it'll undo. It's almost your shortcut for undo, right? Now, group 1 is outside of this home screen, so I click on it and drag it into home screen. Now everything should be there. If I move my home screen, everything moves with it. Now I want to make a copy of this. I do not want to go and select everything and do it. I click on the home screen itself, and I can now Command D, and it'll create my new screen. So this one, I'm going to call it profile page. Capsule. Right. So we're going to try and make the same like this. In this case, we don't have the name Instagram there anymore. We have our username, right? And we don't have all these ellipsis buttons anymore here. Instead, what we have are your it's your posts, your followers, and your following. So it's all text that I'm going to use here. So I'm just going to take the same one, Command D. And if you're noticing on the left-hand side, as I'm making copies, it's already adding it under the profile page. So my username. I'm just going to move my username itself more to the top, and I'll adjust them as I go along. And I need one of these for my profile picture. So this one's going to become posts. This one, followers. And this one becomes following. And you can adjust the size of your text box and also the spacing between them as well. For now, I'm not going to do the numbers with it. I'm just doing just the labels. Okay, and then I don't need these ellipses again, so I'm just going to select them all and backspace, and it will delete it. What I need now are these buttons, right? One for follow and one for messages. So I go back to my assets. I can select my rectangle, and I can choose it to what size I want it to be. And once I more or less know what size I want it to be, I can just Control D and make another copy of it. So one is for my messages and one is for my followers. So my messages, I want to also, I want to change that color. So I don't want this blue anymore. I mean, this gray, I want to make it blue. I double clicked on the actual object, gave me all my options on the right. I select on the full and I clicked on the 4 buttons to get options that I can select here. I want it to be blue, so I'm going to make that blue. And the same here, this one, I want it to be white. In that case, I lose my color altogether. You can always add stroke and choose what size. You can change the color, you can choose the side, the weight of it, whether it's on the inside, on the outside. There's quite a few options here that you can play around with as you get more familiar with this. And then we had the 4 buttons there. So what I'm going to do is just copy these ones. And so we don't have this username anymore here. So I want them to be a little bit bigger. I want one more of them. And then you can just space them out how you want them. So now I'm going quite fast here. I just want to almost fast track through the actual design just to actually show you the actual prototype, how you can prototype. So this is showing multiple images, almost all your posts that you've got, right? So I'm going to just do 3 posts. And then shift and hold them down again and Command D, and then I can so that kind of gives you the image of what's so now you'll see I move this and these blocks are not moving, right? If I go back to my assets, I can see that these rectangles haven't moved across. So I'll just click on it, drag it across into my profile page. And just remember, why did I go to dictionary? If you've moved it around, just make sure that your alignment's back. I don't need these. And because I've got space here, I can actually do another row. And this more or less mirrors your what your Instagram screen looked like, right? The idea here is it doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to give the client a feel for what you're trying to design, whether it's a screen or a solution of any sort. It gives you this look and feel. Now that you've got your design here, you've got your profile page, you want to be able to show how do I get from page 1 to the next one, right? I'm going to just do a simple demonstration. So if you go to prototype and you click on username, it gives you a little, if you hover over it, it gives you this little plus button. That's actually where you're actually starting your connection. So it says like, if I click on this button, it must take me to the screen. So just drag it there to attach itself. Gives you options like how do you want it, at what point do you want it on drag, when you're hovering, at what point must it move to the next screen. So we leave it on click. We're saying where does it need to navigate to. So you want to navigate to the profile page. and how do you want to do it. And they suggest that you do Smart Animate because it actually works better with that. It gives you more options here. I don't want to change anything. I like the way it is. It's a matter of just click and go. So I'll show you this first. So now if you press play, it will create your prototype for you. So you just want to adjust this so that you can see it all in once. So just you either get an option for fit to width and height or fit to page, right? So this is what we just created. So if I click anywhere, it'll show me any of the connection points. You see it highlighted that button next to username, but if you had any other connections, it will show it there. So if I click on this, it now takes me to my next screen, which is my profile screen. But now if I want to go from here, I want to actually go back. So you can do another connection. So if I click on back, so I could make this a back button. But if I click on that button, it must take me back to my home screen. Everything else can stay the same since you set it up already. And now if you play it, I wanted to fit my screen. So now if I click on that button, it takes me back to my home screen. If I click on the username, it takes me to my profile page. So it's just a simple way of showing you how that works. And I just want to show you one more option. Sorry, just give me, oh, here we go. Okay, so this is what I've been doing. If you zoom out, you can see I've actually created 6 different screens. So what I've done is now, do it this way. Click on play. Put it back to size. So this is my login screen. Click on, put in my details and log in. Takes me to my landing page. If I click on registration, gives me an option to search for a client scanning an ID code or putting in demographics. If I scan the ID, it gives me possible options. Here's my possible clients. If I select one of them, it populates my client details. If I decide, actually, no, I want to create a patient instead, I click on create, gives me the empty screen for me to fill in my details. If I want to go back to search, I'm able to click and go back to search. From any of the screens, if I click on home, it'll take me back to my my landing page. So it gives you so many options. So if you click here on prototype, it should show me all my different routing that I can do between the different screens. And this is just a simple registration screen. So imagine when you get into a flow that's bigger and more complicated, your client wouldn't even see this at all. Even if you want to show anyone, this is your design. But when you actually run your prototype, they see the functionality of what you're trying to describe. And then they can tell, you know what, actually, on this screen, that forget password is too small. It needs to be bigger. Or can you not move this button from here to there? Even in your visuals, you know, they could tell you, oh, this color doesn't work. It's too bright. Change it. In your results screen, because we're doing it for a mobile phone, we're trying to minimize what you see. They may want to change the option and say, actually, I want to see more details of the patient to make a decision. So can I rotate the screen and then see more fields? So this gives you immediate answers, and they're able to actually see how it's going to flow and how it's going to work and make decisions based on that. So that's what I like about it, is that it's very flexible. I can undo things. If they tell me to, I can immediately click on it and work on it while I'm taking them through it without having to now log a change request for a developer to go and code this and recreate this and give it to me in 2 months' time. This is instantaneous. It's instant gratification. So I hope I didn't go too fast on that and that it actually helped you to understand what we were trying to actually achieve with this tool and how quick it works for you. Just want to go back to my presentation. Find it. Share screen again.
Lalita, we've got a question from Liana.
Yep.
What industries or types of projects do you think Figma is particularly well situated for? Or are there any
All
areas where it might not be best tool?
No, I think it could work in any circumstances. I think you just need to play around with the tool and make use of what works for you. If you feel instead of drawing just blank templates is not going to work for you, it actually works better to actually use images. That works fine as well. I just want to see if I have access to a. So my colleague was also playing around with Figma, and I just want to show you how different his screens are to mine. It's around. So I'm just going to share that screen. Okay, so this is his screen that he's done. See, his login page looks different. He's put in extra things around the login page. The search criteria, the way they would work, the fields that would show. I just want to see if I can find the one. Yeah. So this is images. You are asking, can you add images? And yes, you can. So he just created a blank box and then he copied the image and put the image in there and then just grouped it together. Even when you're putting your image in the block, you can adjust the size and how you actually are looking at it. So there's different ways of how you want to visualize it.
So Lalita,
So
we're not seeing the
yeah.
screen that you're sharing right now.
Let me just. Oh wait. Okay. Now can you see the screen?
Yes, we can. Thanks.
Okay. So his look and feel is slightly different from mine. This is how he's searching for a patient. This is his display of the patients found. And what I was saying was you were asking about images. These are images that he copy pasted in here. So instead of going and retyping this out of the flow, this information was already shared. So he just screenshot it and then he pasted it in as an image. When you put it in here as well, you can adjust the size of it. You can move it to actually align there. He created a white background so it's more visual so that you can see it. Similar to your Visio diagrams and things, you can use arrows to depict stuff, what's happening, text boxes where he wanted. So his is almost like a thought dump. So it's got all different types of things in here, but it means that if he's having a discussion, he can easily discuss the same things and show this is what I'm thinking about. This is where I think it would integrate and get answers immediately. He's even put in here questions, which fields should be mandatories? Are we missing fields? So it's a matter of you taking it and running with it. It doesn't mean that it's one size fits all. It also is up to you. It's what works for you and in what environment you're working in. So work smarter. You don't have to make it go to the nth degree to look exactly identical to be, matching exact existing stuff. Because the client doesn't always want what's existing. If he wanted what's existing, he wouldn't want an announcement. So you need to show them what the possibilities are. But because your biggest thing that you're trying to do is get quick to market, you want to do it as fast as you can. So, just play around with it and you'll get used to it. I mean, I've done this not fully like the whole day, but I've been playing around this in the last 2 weeks as and when I got time. And I've learned a lot already. So, the world's your oyster. You can go as far as you want to. So just some tips and tools. As I said at the beginning, when you starting it,
Sorry,
create your
Lita,
assets. Yep.
before you go, we got a few
Yep.
questions. So the first one
Sure.
from Carla. Lalita, do you have a UX designers at your workplace that's do designs, but
Uh,
they do it?
yes and no. He's not
No.
necessarily on our projects. He's
Yeah.
he's more from a branding and marketing side of view. So when we're doing projects, no, he doesn't get involved with our projects and doing UX. And he's more of a designer than a user experience. So it's very hard for him to correlate what we're expecting from a user point of view because he doesn't have the background of what the users are expecting. He has the design part of it. So we'd have to explain to him exactly what we want. And sometimes if I can get a tool like this that's much faster, I do it myself.
Okay, cool.
Any other
Yeah,
questions?
another question from Liana. What is the best way to organize and manage multiple versions of prototypes in Figma, especially when working with a large team?
So you can share this, right? There's an option here on that design screen, on the right hand side where you had all the options to update your design. There's a button to actually share. So then it becomes multi-users can actually do it. I'm not sure if it has version control, but you can. I just want to see if you go back to files. So you can group your files together. So I think you could use that to do your versioning. Just go back to one. Yeah, so you've got team projects. You can create it. You can share it. It actually has almost like a plan on your landing page. Gives you all the projects you have, which design files you have. And Figma is not just only wireframe, right? It has your brainstorming, your Jamboards and things. It has slides. It has lots of options. I'm just focusing this time particularly on wireframes. So if it's a tool that you feel actually works well for you, I would suggest actually playing around with the rest of the stuff, because if you can have one tool that can do multiple things, it's a win. Any other questions, Bumani?
Nothing for now, thanks.
Okay, so back to our tips and tools. As I said, create your assets up front because then you don't have to go and try and measure and change things around. You can just almost like it's reusable templates and objects, right? Also, make sure you frame your design so that everything actually stays on there. And I showed you how you can actually check are your objects linked to your frame or not? And if they're not, you can just drag and put them back in. Command D or Control D will duplicate your objects. If you want to select multiple objects, you shift and click on the objects, and then you can select multiple objects. And then when you're working on any object, if you double click on it, it will give you your edit options on the right. The other thing is when you're grouping objects, like I grouped the square with the two lines, if I wanted to edit something specific within that group, if you click on it, it'll show you the entire object, right? But if you double click on it, on the actual object within it, it will take you down into that object. I think I need to just demonstrate that, sorry, what I'm trying to say so that you can understand. Oh, also, I don't know on other things, but on Mac, you can use your zoom functionality on your running pad. Okay, so this one I've got all of them grouped together, but I want to work on just this female column. If I double click on it, I can double click until it turns purple and shows me just that object. So even though it's grouped, I can still work within a particular object in that group. If that makes sense. Back. Presentation. So as I said, there's lots of tools out there. You need to use what works for you. And it doesn't mean it has to be one tool. You could use different aspects of multiple tools to get what you want at the end of the day. But what you need to do is work smarter, definitely not harder. There's no time to be working harder. You are always expected to do 10 different things at once. So whatever makes your life easy, go for it. And time waits for no man or woman, and you need to be able to adapt and adjust to what works for you at any given point in time. So my advice to you is play around with things. If you've got time, improve your skills while you can. And there's no set rules that says if you're following a process, you got to go from A to Z. If you can go from A and skip B, C, D and jump into E, do it. But make sure that your quality stays. That needs to be your basic thing, is the quality of your work and what return you're getting. What value is your client actually getting? Because at the end of the day, the stakeholder is your client. You need to be making sure that you're not making things pretty for the sake of making pretty. You're actually making it something that's available to them and going to make their lives easier. People don't want to read a lot of documents. They do not want to have to go through things. I don't know about the rest of you, but we work in low resource countries like in Africa and Southeast Asia, where we're dealing with politicians. They are not going to read a 100-page business requirements document and give me a physical sign-off. If I can get an email acknowledgement, that's a bonus. So if I can give them certain sections that I need them to review and give me feedback, or give them visuals instead of written that they can easily understand and do not need to have technical knowledge to understand, then it's a bonus. So where you can actually make both their lives easier and yours, and you can get answers immediately, then that's what you should be striving for. So if we go back, I can click.
Before you go back, Lalita,
Yeah.
are there any AI features in Figma?
I'm sure there are. I haven't tested out the AI functionality, although I think the prototyping for me is actually quite good. Most products these days are having some component of AI. What I did notice though is as I'm designing something, if I have space, like when I control D, usually it would just replicate it exactly on the image and I got to drag it onto the next one. But as I was using ellipses, the next time I did control D, it actually, you saw it filtered it below each other, almost like here's your starting point, because you don't, it's not one on top of the other. It actually started filtering it into the actual template. So I think there might be some AI component behind it, but I actually haven't investigated. I just want to come back here to why wireframes and prototyping and how it's going to empower you. It takes away that reliance on development and coding, which means that you're getting faster turnaround time, giving you that visual that you can now use as a tool to say, I need a decision. Please look at this. Let's discuss it. Tell me what you want to change, and you change it as you're discussing. Then you're changing something and say, okay, no, wait, that doesn't make sense. Change it back to where it was. You can do that. It improves that communication between your stakeholder. They're actually understanding what you're getting them to agree on. It's no longer that you spoke these high terms and they're kind of agreeing because they think they know what you mean. Here, you actually showing them what you mean. You're showing them this is actually more or less the basic of what you can do. And wireframes are very powerful. It doesn't even have to be a tool. Even if you're drawing a picture and showing them what you're expecting something to look at, it's much more effective than just a written 10-page document. So being able to now have a tool where you can actually change it as you're working, you are reworking it immediately. It means it's saving you rework down the line. It's not going all the way into development and then they're saying, oh, wait, that's not what I wanted. That's not how I thought it was going to look. Because now you're showing them what it's going to look like up front. So yeah, this is a win-win on all sides. As I said, you don't need a lot to actually learn this. You can get self-taught, but Figma does actually have tutorials, free tutorials for you. I think as soon as you actually log in, it gives you the option for actually going and reading up or going through the lesson itself on how you can actually do the wireframing before you even try and attempt it on your own. So you can do what I did, which is go and play around with it and get used to it, or you can do the lesson for free and actually have that backing behind you before you start playing. And you may get all those shortcuts that Liana was asking about already in that tutorial. Vumani, any other questions?
No, Lalitha, no question at the
Okay.
moment.
So Liana, we have 2 minutes. I think we're good to end here.
So I have got to say thank you for 2 minutes. Lalitha, thank you. I can see there's some people that know Figma, but a lot of us didn't. And I think the important bit was that demonstration. And then, especially when you showed your colleagues, I finally understood, because why do I want to do Instagram? Now I could say, okay, that was the use of Instagram in that specific instance.
Yes.
So yes, I think the demonstration, so it's not only theory, like anything else, it's the demonstration that contributes. So yes, I think you need to leave your contact details so that I can knock on your door, or actually your address, so I can go and sit next to you. Anyway, thank you. And
I hope that the people
hang
that
on.
know that, yeah.
Hmm?
I just want to say, I hope the people that know Figma were also able to contribute in the discussion and answer some of those questions that people were asking.
They did. They did indeed. They did indeed. That's
Yes,
why I know
Perfect.
some people.
Yeah, they did.
That's why I know some people are familiar with Figma. I definitely have to go and do some more studying. The list is getting longer. But thank you very much. And let's not forget Vumani and Akwandu. And we had Namondo
Tim.
as photographer. So
Oh.
all our helpers behind the scenes. And as a final word, I just saw that the new Pope has been elected. Who? I don't know. But yes, the smoke coming out of the tower at the Vatican is white.
Is right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. A last word from you, Lalitha.
Guys, don't stop learning. Whatever makes your life easier, go out and use it. Because at the end of the day, you are the one putting the effort in, and you need to make sure that that effort is actually worthwhile. Because I can tell you from experience, you can spend a whole lot of time trying to get requirements in, only for the client to change his mind and say, actually, no, I don't want it. So, if you can use tools like this that actually bring that decision making up front and saves you time, all the better. If you can move faster through your work and not have to document everything to the nth degree, all the best. Because in this day and age, I do not want to be spending my whole life in front of a computer. I want that life-work balance. So I want to make life easier for myself. And I expect the same from you.
Thanks again. And thank you, everybody that joined. And until next time, 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much for joining.
Yep.